Hi everybody, welcome to this crash course in SQL. To help us understand what SQL is all about, we're just going to look at an example of a database table. I'm just using Microsoft Access, so this database exists only on my computer. Okay, so I'm just going to put in some random data. Joe is 14, he has a GPA of 3.6. Jill, wait a minute, I said 3.6, I didn't say 4. What's going on? Let's just go into design view. GPA, yeah, GPA is a number, yes, 3.6. Oh, right. It's not an integer. 3.6 is not a whole number. It's a decimal number. So I need to change the data type. In Access, a decimal number is often called a double. Okay, so let's make that change. Let's go back into data view. We'll save that. Let's just try and change that back to 3.6. Yes, okay, so that's a double. All right, Jill, who's 15, has a GPA of 3.8. Jack is also 14. He has a GPA also of 3.8. Very interesting. And Jonathan, with a capital J, has a GPA of 4.2. Okay, so here's just some sample data in a database table. Now, hopefully, as you already know, we can create a query. We're going to choose our table, and we're going to select everything. Notice this asterisk is a quick way of selecting everything. Okay, that just means everything. And we're going to say, okay, select everything from the database table where GPA is greater than 4. Select everything from table 1 where the GPA is greater than 4. Let's run that and see if it works. Yes, there you go. Jonathan, of course, is the only student with a GPA greater than 4. Now, this is great if you're designing databases that are on your computer or maybe on your local network in your office. Unfortunately, a lot of databases are hosted on the internet. They exist on a web server. For example, Facebook is really just a database. And Facebook's web pages communicate with that database to pull data onto the web page. Okay? And then there's some styling to make it look pretty. But really, Facebook is just a database. Now, Facebook doesn't do that by communicating with Microsoft Access. It doesn't work like that. In order for Facebook's web pages to communicate with a database table, they use a special programming language, and that's what we're going to look at today. So I'm just going to close this query. Let's just create another query again. But I want you to imagine that we're not in Microsoft Access. I want you to imagine that this table of data exists in a database on a web server. And we are web designers, and we're creating web pages. And our web pages would like to communicate with this table. Okay? To do that, we're going to write a query, but we're going to use a language called SQL, Structured Query Language. So let's have a look at how Structured Query Language works. We're now inside our query. This is an example of SQL. Now let's just complete it a little bit. Let's use that asterisk again. Select everything from the database table. And notice this semicolon tells me this is the end of an SQL statement. So that's important. Let's run that SQL query. Yes, okay. So it just selected everything from the table, and this is the result of the SQL query. Let's go back into SQL View. Just going to remind myself of the field names: student name, camel hump, small s, big N, that's camel hump naming convention, age with a capital A, and GPA, all capitals. Okay, because I need to know those field names. So I'm just going to say, okay, select student name from table 1. Let's run that SQL query. So this time we just get the student name. Select student name and the GPA. So we're going to just make a list of fields here that we want to select from the table. Just use a comma to create that list of fields that we want to select. So now we see student name and GPA. Brilliant. Let's go back into SQL View. Select the student name and the GPA from this table, but I want to make a new line. We're going to put a condition in where GPA is greater than 4. Do you remember that's Jonathan? So let's select student name and let's select age. In fact, let's select GPA as well. We'll select these 3 fields from this table where this condition is true. Whoa! Characters found after the end. Right, do you remember? This is the end of the statement, but now we have some more stuff, so we need to update the end of the statement, which is now here. Let's try again. Select student name, age, and GPA from table 1, where GPA is greater than 4, and there's only one result. Okay? So let's go back to SQL View. Let's make this a little bit complicated. Select, let's just have a look at the table data again. This time I want to select all students who have a GPA less than 4 and their name is Jack. So let's see if we can figure that out. Select student name, age, and GPA from this table where GPA is less than 4 and student name is the same as, now this is a string this time, so we need the quotation marks, Jack. Let's see if we can combine 2 conditions here in our where statement. Think of where as like if you're used to programming. But in SQL, they use the keyword where. Select something from this table where this is true. Let's run that. Yes, we got it. Okay. All right, there's a couple more things that we're going to look at before we finish today. I'm going to select everything from table 1. I'm going to take out, let's say where GPA is greater than 3, order by GPA. Okay, so this time we're going to do some ordering, order by. Let's see, and remember this is the new end of our SQL statement. Select everything from this table where this condition is true and order by a field that we want to order by. So we're going to create an order. Let's see if that works. So this time we're ordering by GPA. Can you see? It starts small and it gets bigger and bigger. This is ascending order of GPA. We're selecting everything from this table where GPA is greater than 3. So all of those appeared. Order by GPA. So just to make sure that really did work, let's change Joe's GPA to 1. Sorry, Joe. And let's run the query again, and hopefully we're not going to see Joe. So there's no Joe this time. Okay, and the final things that I want to explain are just going to get rid of this stuff here. I'm just going to go into W3 Schools and find SQL. I want to do some research on summing and counting. Let's have a look at this. Select the sum of something from the table where there's a condition. So this is optional, remember. Let's see if we can figure that out. Select the sum of the GPA from table 1. That's the end of my query. We're going to sum the GPA. Let's run that and see if it works. Yes, that worked. Select the count. Let's see if we can just quickly figure out how count works. The count of the GPA from table 1 where GPA is greater than 3. Order. Oh no, we don't need to order because we're just doing a count. There's only going to be one result. So we don't need order in this case. And there are 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. So that is a crash course in SQL.